National Football League. Today, the New York Giants against the Dallas Cowboys.
From Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, the Giants come to town against the Cowboys. Sold out. Weather conditions, temperature 93 degrees. It's much hotter than that down on the playing surface. Humidity 52%, wind south 16 miles an hour, and the forecast for the rest of the day is partly cloudy. Good afternoon. Many of you have been watching the progress of the Rams and the Packers. We'll keep you posted on what's going on in that game. They now have less than a minute left to play. I'm Pat Summerall. This is John Madden. We spent a long time yesterday with Tom Landry and ask him how he has some apprehension.
That's what he said. He said they've been winning. They've had to come from behind in both games. He said they've been doing it with big plays. And he's disappointed in two areas, specifically his defense. His pass defense is last in the NFL, and his special teams. As a matter of fact, this week, Tom Landry took over the special teams himself.
John, as long as you coach, as long as I've been around the NFL, a lot of times you get the impression that people don't deal with the limitations that they have. But in talking to Bill Parcells, the Giants head coach yesterday, he thinks that his team is capable of doing certain things, and he's playing and planning to do just that.
Well, of course, he wants to deal with his strengths. He realizes the biggest strength of the Giants is his defense. So he wants to let them get field position, make big plays for him. He also realizes that he has good kickers, he has good special teams, and he does have some limitations on offense. Now, last week against Atlanta, they had a ball control type offense. They'd run on first down, run on second down, try and create those 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6 deals so that they could get that short passing. This week, he says he wants to do the same thing again. The only difference is he'd like to have some surprises on first down. So we may see some play passes early.
And early, just to let you know, it is very, very warm and humid. Temperature down on the field is vastly different from what it is up here. And just being down there for a few minutes a short time ago, it is very hot. The Giants have won the toss. They will receive the kickoff, and back to return for them eventually will be Danny Pittman, perhaps. We'll just have to take a look at who else. Raphael Septien, off to a great start this year. Hasn't missed anything. Will kick off for Dallas. Not only would the weather be a factor, but the sun, as it comes through that huge hole up in the top of the roof of Texas Stadium, will also be a factor. Billy Pittman, Camp Field, number 35, sorry. Ex-Philadelphia Eagle, who did such yeoman work for them for a long time. And they'll be looking right dead into that sun. That could bother you. Raphael Septien then will kick it off and start this match between the Cowboys and the Giants. Good kick. Canfield shading his eyes 5 yards deep in the end zone. Starts to come out, changes his mind, and stays. The lineups for the Giants, the offensive backs and receivers. Bruner, Wolford, Carpenter, Ernest Gray, and John Missler. Up front, it's Benson Ard, Humphrey Turner, Gordon King, and the tight end Zeke Mowat. Scott Bruner, the quarterback, 6'5". Last week, 18 out of 30 for 194 yards, the 1 touchdown, the 1 interception. So the Giants will operate first offensive play from scrimmage from their own 20-yard line. Butch Wolford bounces outside, bounces for about 4 yards. The ever-present, it seems, and always there, Jan Stenerud has beaten the Los Angeles Rams and beaten John Robinson as the Packers win 27-24. That's a final. The Dallas defense, they play the 4-man front as they have for, well, as long as they've been here. The linebackers, Hegman, Brunig, and Dickerson. The secondary, Walls, Thurman, Clint Scale, and Down. 2nd and 5. Bruner looks to the outside quickly. Has John Missler shy of a first down. Everson Walls on the tackle right there with him.
It was interesting, Pat. On first down, the Giants went with 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. They only had 1 wide receiver in there. And I think that's how they want to shore up that first down running a little. And they came back with a short pass on second down, and now they create that 3rd and 1 situation.
Which is a situation that they are quite comfortable with. One that they strive for. 3 tight ends. Short yardage. Cowboys in their goal line defense. Carpenter. I don't know. It is close. No, it's not Carpenter. It's Wolfel. And he's got the first down.
One of the things Bill Parcells was telling us last night, that he wants to do a little misdirection. He said he knows that the Cowboys really key.
Let's go back to New York and Brent Musburger.
And Pat, here is that field goal by Jan Stenerud, 36 yards, but it was set up by a fumble by Eric Dickerson. The Packers then ran 1 play, then they kicked the winning field goal. So Green Bay comes back. They beat the Rams 27-24. Back to Pat Summerall.
And before this year is over, those Packers are going to be a factor. 2nd and 2. Giants. Wolfel. Close to another first down. Maybe he has it.
I think that was the type of play that we were talking about, where they had Carpenter going one way to the left and then Wolfel going up inside, not having to sweep. Let's watch it again. We'll see Carpenter here in the left. Now watch him. See, he comes across the backfield. That gets Bruning to take a step that way, and then in a misdirection, they bring Wolfel back against the grain.
And it's a Giant first down at their own 41-yard line. Mullity was the man in motion. This is Carpenter. And Carpenter bangs out to about the 45 before Mike Hegman takes him down. Well, one thing about talking to Bill Parcells, as we did yesterday, he lets you know what it is he's going to try to do.
I tell you, he really is an open and honest guy. I think if he has time, he's going to be, someday he'll be one of the real good head coaches in this league.
All you have to do to get time is win a few. Carpenter was the lone setback. Bruner to throw for the first time. Wide open is Mowat. Had it, dropped it, and now it's called an incomplete pass. They say no fumble. They say not a fumble. Dexter Clinkscale on the coverage. Mowat was wide open.
He was wide open. They caught the Cowboys, and Mowat just split their defense. He's upset the rookie free agent. Let's just watch it again. Here it is. We see the play pass. Then Mowat is coming right up the middle. He never did gain control of the ball. See? Just as he was starting, he had the ball up there. Just as he started to put it away, the ball bounced out. So the official said he never had control of it. Thus an incomplete pass.
So Scott Bruner will now operate from the shotgun. Penalty markers go down. Bruner throws complete. Danny Pittman made the reception. Rod Fellows on the tackle.
You know, that's something new for the Giants. That play there was the first time that they've used a shotgun this year.
They tried to go on the quick count, and they did go on the quick count, except it was too quick. 14-yard gain, first down, wiped out by that penalty.
Illegal motion, number 81, offense, 3rd down.
The motion man.
Of course, the illegal motion could be that he was going forward before the ball was snapped.
It's 3rd and 12, and I think that's exactly what happened. Now they go with extra wide receivers, and one more time they go from the shotgun. Canfield back there with Bruner. Cowboys show him blitz. Canfield gets outside. Does not get the first down as the Cowboys tried to put the heat on Bruner.
Well, this is the type of thing that the Giants want to do, and it's the type of thing you do when you have a good defense. You get that third and long, you don't go for it all. You just take a solid, safe play. If you break it, fine. If you don't, the worst thing you can have is this guy here, Dave Jennings punt, is one of the best punter in the league. Let him get the offense down there and play your strong defense.
The Cowboys send back a single safety. We'll check the hang time. Jennings, Donnelly will handle. Away from one man. Giants did a good job getting down very quickly. 41-yard punt, 1-yard return. Jennings, okay. Not his best, but not bad. The Cowboys will take over. The offensive backs and receivers for Dallas: Danny White, Dorsett, Springs, Drew Pearson, and Tony Hill. Offensive line: Donovan, Scott, Rafferty, Peterson, Cooper, and Cosby. Tom Landry shuttles those two guards. So we'll just have to keep track of who's in the game. It is Herbert Scott to begin things. Rafferty, the center, will check the Giant defense in just a minute. Dallas, first down at their own 13. Two tight end setup. Dorsett spins outside to the 15. Terry Jackson, the cornerback, came up to make the stop. The three-man line defense of the Giants includes McGriff, Burt, and Hardison. That's against the run. The linebackers: Van Pelt, Kelly, Carson, and Taylor. That's against the run. The secondary: Haynes, Jackson, Courier, and Reese. It'll be 2nd and 7 as Dorsett spun his way for 3 yards. Lone setback, Dorsett. That's Tony Hill in motion. White out the hill, and the Giant didn't prove anybody. Hill spins away from 2, still on his feet. Hill's got some room now. Tony Hill, magnificent individual effort. Made something out of nothing.
One of the first rules that you teach your defensive players is never think you hear the whistle blow. It looked like some of the Giants thought, you got him, let's go, it's all over. But it wasn't, and Tony Hill kept going. Let's watch it again. It's going to be a screen. We see the center, guard, tackle all pull out to the right to get in front of Hill. Nice big pile out there. There's George Martin. He'll miss right there. Back there we have another miss. Lawrence Taylor. Look, they all got him. I got him. You take him. Who got him? No one. He'll run out of bounds before it's over.
Well, that's a long time at the dance for just 2 yards. 3rd and 5. Danny White back to throw. Outside he goes. Springs cut down by Jackson. As soon as he made the reception. Giant defense is, in the estimation of Tom Landry, the best in the NFC, maybe the best in the NFL. They just showed you why he thinks that.
Well, I'll tell you one other thing we know is that Bill Parcells was telling us last night that any time they get in that area, 3rd and 6, their favorite receiver is Ron Spring. He said, so you have to do something. Then they rolled up into a zone on his side, and that's why Terry Jackson, the right corner, was up there to make the play.
Ex-Cowboy Beasley Reese is back deep for the Giants. Warren will kick it. Hangs it high, doesn't turn over. Stay up there. Not long enough to shoot almost everybody. Reese taken down quickly. This is something that the Cowboys felt they had to work on, and they did. With Landry in supervision, special teams.
When the head coach comes over and he's the coach, he said, I really don't want to admit that until after the game. We'll see how they do first.
And so Tom has been working with the special teams throughout this week. And so far, he should be happy.
I think he's so happy he doesn't even sweat on a hot day like this. That coat, tie, hat.
I wonder how that would be.
Not sweat?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. First down, Giants, their own 42. Brunner gives to Wolfbrook, and he's got no place to go. He'll lose a couple. Mike Hegman had it diagnosed perfectly.
One thing that's very difficult on this Cowboy defense, they use that flex, is to run right or left, sweep it. Really, if you're going to, you have to run straight at it.
So north and south is the way to go, not east and west. 2nd down and 12.
the second time this afternoon. Walter Payton of the Bears has gunned a touchdown pass. This one to the rookie, Willie Gault. Gault has caught 4 passes, 3 for touchdowns of 8, 56, and 21 yards. They're tied with a minute. Back to Pat Summerall.
Walter Payton has found new life as a thrower.
It's the old triple threat. Remember that?
Yeah.
The guy that would run it, throw it, and kick it.
And he is, as a matter of fact, their backup placement. Third down, 11. Bruner from the shotgun. Cowboys do not blitz, but they put some pressure on. Ernest Gray gets the clutch reception coming across the middle. 23-yard gain. Giant first down. Bill Bates made the stop, but let's see how Gray got there.
I'll tell you, Gray starts from the left side. If you watch him, he's the outside guy there. Ron Fellows is man-to-man on him. Now, this is a running pattern. He's just starting. He has the whole field. There's no safety in the middle. He just runs right by Fellows, gets a step on him, and then gets a big play.
First down, Giants. They're at the Cowboy 36. No score yet. Double tight end setup with Mullity and Moas both. This is Carpenter. Bob nudges his way for a couple. Not much room to run. Mike Hegman led the defense.
You know, when the Cowboys get into that situation, passing downs on defense, they always go to a man-to-man type defense because they like to blitz a lot. And the offense, then, you want to run running patterns the way Gray did. Not the zone patterns, the hooks and stuff, but where you have a chance against man-to-man to run away from a defender.
So well put. That's the way to attack it. Rob Carpenter is the lone setback behind Scott Bruner. Second down. Fake. Little throw. In the corner for Gray and overthrown. Dennis Thurman, good defense. Let's check some of the other scores around the NFL. Atlanta beat Detroit the first time the Lions have lost, 30-14. Atlanta, somewhat of a mystery team. You heard us say a minute ago that John Stenerud beat the Rams 27-24 with his field goal. Surprise score there. New England over the Jets 23-13. Pittsburgh 40, Houston 28 final. Trouble in Houston. Scott Brunner's 2 out of 4, 27 yards. 3rd and 6 situation. Brunner will operate from the shotgun. Billy Campfield in the backfield. Missler in motion. Brunner dropped. Brunner with a man wide open. Billy Campfield out of the backfield. Got himself very loose. 12-yard gain, first down, Giants. Anthony Dickerson knocked him out of bounds.
Bill Parcells was saying that Campfield did this for so many years for the Philadelphia Eagles against them. Come in on that 3rd down, catch that big pass for the first down. He said when the Eagles waved him, that was the first thing on my mind. This guy has caught so many 3rd down passes against us, I'd like to have him playing for us and doing it, which he's doing.
And that just paid off. 6:05 left first quarter, 1st and 10. Giants at the Dallas 20, no score. So far, it's been the kind of game that the Giants would want. Wolford. Outside, breaks one tackle, gets to the 15. Bob Brunig tripped him up.
That's the example of this flex defense. Bruning, the middle linebacker, is free. The defensive line keep the offensive line off Bruning so he can just chase. Now Walls comes up to the outside, forces him back into the middle linebacker Bruning. That's why he'll always lead the team in tackles, the middle linebacker.
Every Tom Landry coached team has had that situation. Leroy Jordan, 2nd and 5. Carpenter. Nudge again. John Dutton wrapped him up after about a yard. Carpenter has been working hard the first 2 weeks.
You know, last week against Atlanta, Bill Parcells was saying when they went into overtime, he said he went over and he said Carpenter was there sitting on his helmet, looked like he just got back from some war. And he says, "Hey, you okay?" And he says, "Yeah, just give me the ball."
Those guys who sit on their helmet, they're usually ready.
I like those guys. Fred Blitnikoff was a great helmet sitter on her.
Bruner back to throw. Blitz is on. Knocked away at the last second by Everson Walls. And Haji Sheik, who last week with his field goal in overtime beat the Atlanta Falcons. Scott Brunner is the holder, so of course there is always that possibility that he might put it up. 31 yards away for Ali Haji Sheik. He gets the ball up high, and he gets it usually very true. The Giants break on top 3-0 over Dallas. Pat Summerall, John Madden, Texas Stadium. The Giants lead 3-0 on a 31-yard field goal by the man at whom you look, Ali Haji Sheik. Chuck McSwain and Ron Fellows back deep for Dallas. High kick, and not a very good one. It's Fellows. Fellows almost broke out of the pack. Gets back to the 28. Byron Hunt, who played here collegiately at SMU, made the stop. The Giants 3, Dallas nothing. First quarter, 4:31 left. Exactly what the Giants would like to have continue. Look how long they had the ball.
And if they're going to be successful, they need that type of thing throughout the game.
From their own 29, the Cowboys operate with Tony Dorsett, the lone setback. Crosby now comes outside Pearson to the left. And now Pearson goes in motion. Danny White to throw on first. Looks outside, has. Drew Pearson, who jukes for a first down. Harry Carson out to make the stop, but a 12-yard gain nevertheless.
Let's watch Drew Pearson here. Now, the Giants play mostly zone pass defense. This is a zone. We see Van Pelt underneath. We see Haynes as a corner safety inside. And we see Pearson. He just comes underneath out to the sideline and gets that.
First down, Dallas at their own 41. Pitch back to Dorsett. Tony Dorsett looking for some room to the outside. Found a little for a minute. Lawrence Taylor, a tough man to juke, tripped him up after a gain of about 3.
Well, that guy right there, Tony Dorsett, is a pretty good juker, though. You know, Tom Landry was saying, he's not a blaster. And that's why they get him so deep in the backfield. Let that defense react. And then by the time Dorsett gets there, he just runs against their reaction.
He sees so much. 2nd and 7. Springs in front of Dorsett, and Dorsett aligns himself. Well, now he goes back to where he was. Deep, very deep. Springs the ball carrier. Van Pelt the tackler. They need about 3 more for a first down. Just keeping you up to date on some other scores. Overtime in Chicago and New Orleans with the Saints against the Bears, 31-31. Seattle 7, San Diego 7. First quarter. Minnesota leading Tampa Bay 7-0. The Buccaneers having all kinds of problems getting on the scoreboard. Doug Donnelly now split wide to the left. The 2 other wide receivers wide to the right. All kinds of weapons for Dallas. White will try to take advantage of it. Overthrows. Intended for Dorsett, I think.
I'll tell you who caused that one, and he won't get credit for it anywhere, is George Martin, the left end. Danny White was looking. He was waiting for someone to come open. Now watch from the right of the screen here. Danny White's in a shotgun. He's going to look out there to the right, but look what he sees. He sees George Martin right there. He has to get rid of the ball before he wants to, so he just threw it away. That incompletion should go to George Martin, defensive left end, number 75.
That was Andy Hedden who was closest to Dorsett. But you were exactly right. It was George Martin who did the damage. Great punt by Martin about Warren this time. Give it a bounce. And Dallas will down it at about the 2-yard line. Ron Fellows is down there quickly. And the Giants are deep in a hole. 49-yard punt. No return. Warren will keep his job with efforts like that. For Notre Dame against Miami. Right here. Right on CBS. 3-0 here at Texas Stadium. The Giants lead the Cowboys with 2:17 left first quarter. Scott Brunner, the Giants quarterback. Hands to Butch Wolford. And Butch stays on his feet, gets the Giants out of a hole, a first down. All the way out near the 20. Butch It's Woolfolk's longest run of the year. Right now, let's go to Brent Musburger.
The Philadelphia Eagles have struck first against the Denver Broncos. Jaworski looking for Quick from the 38, and he's got him. And the Eagles score 7 after the Tony Franklin extra point. They lead at 7-0. Let's go back to Pat and John.
First down at their own 19. Mullerly in motion. Carpenter the carrier. Carpenter gets a yard. You know, I was just thinking about what Tom Landry said before they went to St. Louis last week. He said we felt the most important thing we had to do was shut down O.J. Anderson. And he felt going here, I think, that we have to control Carpenter.
And that's why that first down run by Woolfolk was so successful. It was another one of those misdirections. They sent Carpenter one way, Woolfolk the other way. The Cowboy defense were all key in Carpenter.
2nd and 7. 1:07 left first quarter. Missler. Walls the tackler. Up there in a hurry.
I think Everson Walls is probably the most confident defensive back that I have ever seen. This guy, they say he can't run. He wasn't drafted in the NFL the whole draft. All he does is come in and he wins a starting spot his first year, makes All-Pro, and starts in the Pro Bowl. But the guy's so confident. He gets out there like he can cover anyone.
Well, nobody can last, I don't think, John. I think you would agree at that position if you don't have that confidence.
That's one of the biggest things because they're out there all alone. They're on an island an awful lot of the time.
Third down. Ball at the Giant 27. Time. Brunner is not sure of what information came from Pat Hodgson over on the sideline. Billy Canfield in the backfield along with Rob Carpenter. Brunner, quarterback draw, got the first down. That's a wrinkle we haven't seen.
Oh, I know it. I think the Giants have a lot of new wrinkles for the Cowboys. Watch it here. It's a quarterback draw. Brunner will start like he's going back. Let the Cowboys start their rush. Sees the opening and comes right up the middle. He caught him in the perfect defense. He caught him in the stunt. You see him? They were all going to the outside. They left that big middle for the quarterback.
That's not something that's done without a lot of research. You just don't pick up those things like that. At the end of one, it's 3-0 Giants.
Third down and 3. That's when the Cowboys like to hunt. Quarterback delays.
To keep the ball, keep the Cowboys from getting that big play, then they feel they have a legitimate chance. And it really looks like it. 2nd and 7. Brunner back to throw. Looking deep. Moat. This time he made sure. First down Giants in Dallas territory at the Cowboy 44. 20-yard gain. Michael Downs, the tackle. That's something else they must have figured out.
Let's watch the effect of the play pass. You see it hold the middle linebacker, Brunig, and then Moat comes right in behind him, and they throw it over his head. That's why you run the play pass. You fake the run, hold that middle linebacker who's supposed to get deep in the middle. That holds him up there, boom, right over his head to your tight end.
So far, it has really been a very appropriate game plan for the Giants. Here's Brunner to Wolf. He cuts in for a couple. For an NFL update, let's send you back to our New York studio and Brent Musburger.
Pat, Minnesota quarterback Tommy Kramer has been knocked out of the game against Tampa Bay. He was rolling around the left side when Mike Washington got a hold of him, and Tommy's cleat stuck out of bounds. He then twisted a knee. He is sidelined, and Steve Dills is now quarterbacking. Minnesota leads by 7. Back to you.
And here, Brent, the Giants have painted a pretty picture so far. They've done exactly what they planned to do. Reverse coming. Mike Miller with a great speed. Chased down by Brunig and knocked out of bounds by Brunig.
You know, Mike Miller, of course, was with the Green Bay Packers. The Giants got him late, and they've been working him slowly into their offense. But anytime they put him in, they try and get a big play to him. Here it is, a reverse. Start the sweep to the right, and then bring it back to Miller. He is one of the fastest guys in the National Football League.
It's been a long time, if ever, since they had speed like that.
He played
the other receiver at Tennessee
right.
with Willie Gault.
Wow. How'd you like to be a defensive back having to play against those guys? why the Giants had to take timeout. They had 12 men on the field. There's Danny Pittman. He started to run on the field. Right there, he started to run on. Then they had 12 men, so they had to take a timeout. Pittman may have thought right there that it was going to be a punt.
53 yards for Ali Haji Sheik, and they're still going to try it. If they hadn't taken the timeout, they would have put the Sheik back so far that he probably couldn't have tried a field goal.
Right, and Pittman didn't have any place to go on the field goal team because that's usually the big, strong guys up there. Pittman's not one of those guys.
Haji Sheik from 53 yards out. He's got the power.
That'll give the Giants a first down.
If it's against Dallas.
Tom Landry's emotion looks like it is.
False start, offense.
He just wiped a little sweat off his brow, I think, didn't he? Because that takes the Giants out of field goal range. They'll bring in their punt team.
Just exactly what we were talking about. They lost a timeout. They lost 5 yards.
Illegal snap, number 60, offense, 4th down.
To him.
All right. So Dave Jennings angling for the corner. Hits it well. And corners it pretty well, too. Out of bounds at about the 4.5-yard line. 35-yard punt, but that's not the story of how good that is. 12 minutes left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium, and the high-scoring Cowboys aren't on the board yet. These are two teams who did not meet last year because of the strike situation. Both of their games against each other were canceled. So it goes back to 2 years ago since they faced each other. It's 3-0. So far, the Giant plan has worked. So instead, spring to about the 8 or 9. Brad Van Pelt was the first man in blue to hit him.
See what happened on that last play? It was funny. Doug Donnelly ran on the field, said something to Danny White, and ran back off. That'd be a lousy position to play. You're a messenger, and you don't get to play any plays.
Well, here comes Donnelly again. Maybe he's got the rest of the message.
That happened to John Robinson at Oregon once. Len Casanova was the coach, and John came up and said, "That's the way to hit, Robbie." Didn't even stay in a play.
White. Hit Orset. There was some daylight, but it went away. Mark Haynes closed the curtain.
Of course, we'll start out here. Now, what happened? Doug Donnelly was out there trying to block on Mark Haynes. He doesn't get him. Now, watch Dorsett make this little move. Now, it's a corner out here. Haynes is going to make the play. You see Donnelly try and block him? No way. Haynes really made a nice tackle. Let's watch Donnelly come off here. See, here's Haynes, 36. Donnelly comes off, faces him. Haynes just goes, boom, wham, take that. Makes the tackle.
Maybe that's why Donnelly's delivering messages. Third down, 6. Mike. Bruce Pearson. That's enough for a first down. Terry Jackson made the stop. 10-yard pickup.
Pat, 4 minutes to go in overtime in New Orleans. Morton Anderson kicks this 41-yard field goal, and the Saints have won their first game in overtime in their history. 34-31 over the Bears. Back to you and John in Dallas.
All right, Brent, thank you. Here it's 3-0. The Giants lead the Cowboys. Cowboys have the ball. 10 minutes, 32 seconds left in the first half. Giants 3, Dallas nothing. Set the lone setback. Pearson swings in motion. Set. Penalty flag right back at the line of scrimmage would usually indicate that somebody used their hands illegally. Curtis McGriff, who plays the run so well for the Giants, made the stop. Face mask against the Giants. Had to be against one of the linemen.
Yeah, that flag was thrown right there in the middle where you'd catch something on a center or a guard. It was thrown by the umpire who lines up right behind them.
Let's see who grabbed.
Grabbing the face mask, number 64, defense, tacked onto the end of the
course, he's watching him for holding, but then he's also going to see the nose tackle grab a face mask.
He must have done it earlier.
Well, yeah, he did. He did it right on the snap.
Dorsett to the outside. Almost, but look who's there. Lawrence Taylor. He's about as quick as Dorsett.
From the other side of the field, he just covers that whole field, sideline to sideline. Yeah, there's a lot of overrated players in the National Football League, I think, but Lawrence Taylor is not one of them.
You know, we get one of those new words every week. Somebody here earlier in the week said he was the ultimate impact player. How's that?
Boom! That's the impact they're talking about.
Wow. 2nd and 6. White to Donnelly. Bill Courier knocked him out of bounds. There was some doubt about whether Courier would be able to play or not. That's 9 yards, another Dallas first down.
Well, Donnelly's over there talking to the defense. He may be talking to his teammates, telling, yeah, I got that one pretty good. I'm getting the feeling of this game now.
Starting to get into it.
Yep, getting into this game now. You know, this is the third regular season game. The Cowboys have started out their entire season behind. The Redskins had to come from behind St. Louis last week, 10-0, and here 3-0.
Jimmy Newsome now is the tailback, and this is Newsome the ball carrier. He's as big as a house. Not Newhouse. Jim Burton. Now they're in midfield. 2nd and 4. White. Donnelly. First down, Cowboys. Mark Haynes made the tackle. You might be wondering why it's Donnelly instead of Tony Hill. Tony Hill has a sprained arch, and he may or may not be back.
Let's watch this. It's a hook pass. It's going to be right in front of cornerback Mark Haynes, who injured himself on this play, Pat. Let's see if we can see that. You see, he's hooking. He hooks right in front of Haynes, and then Brad Van Pelt hits over the top, but Mark Haynes hurt himself, and he came out. Mike Dennis is now at left corner.
Dennis playing in place of Haynes. White. Struggling. Bounces it to Cosby, with Lawrence Taylor draped around his feet.
There's another one of those things where the incompletion should be given right there to... George used to call those deliveries.
Right. It is very hot. Here's Springs hit in the backfield and wrestled to the ground by Van Pelt. George Martin hit him first. There's another guy. They line up in the shotgun. White looks over the defense. I look for something unusual right now. That's Mark Haynes, who came off the bench. Way down in the end zone is the flag, or close to the end zone. Look at Donnelly.
That was one of those things I got him.
There
You
is
take
no
him, who has
foul.
him.
The quarterback was out of the pocket when the illegal contact occurred. First down, timeout.
Just had to scramble out of the pocket and threw that interception.
Of course, and the rule is once they have to run protect. So they pick the flag up.
Giants from their own 21. Carpenter to about the 26. Everson Walls around his ankle. Missler comes wide to the left. Ernest Gray wide to the right. It's back to Butch Wolfolk. Brunig. One of the tacklers. The other is Hegman.
Again, that's the Giants' plan. Their pass like now. They're in a situation 3rd and 1. They can either run, play pass, or little pass.
And they got that clock running. 6:14 left first half. 3 tight end setup. Carpenter curls the body up top. Doesn't get the first down. Dennis Thurman, the first man to make the hit. And Dave Jennings will come into action.
That was when, as Carpenter hurled his body, the defense hurled their bodies. They all met in the top. Now watch it here. Wolfolk is leading. Here comes Carpenter. Now watch as he
Steve Jennings standing back to punt for the Giants. Ron Fellows back, not Doug Donnelly. Jennings doesn't get it all. Fellows evades the first Giant, but not the rest of them. He gets out to the 32 where Dallas will take over. Larry Flowers was the man who made the stop. 43-yard punt, 5-yard return. 5:29 left to play first. Here's Tony Hill.
Yeah, we just see that he's still limping.
White. Dorsett. Lost. There is Harry Carson, one of the leaders of the Giant defense, and here's how it happened.
Watch him here, number 53. It's a screen pass out to the left. Now watch him. Now Kurt Peterson is going to come up right here. Watch him. And he puts his shoulder right on that left knee. There, right there. And it looked like his foot got caught. It's a left knee. Ooh, that one hurts.
Yeah. Knees are not meant to bend in that direction. 2nd and 14. 5:08 left to play first half. Giants 3, Cowboys nothing. Dorsett gets back to the line of scrimmage, and a flag is thrown. Well, here's Jerry Markbright. Illegal use of the hand. You think you were talking a minute ago about the Cowboys?
Then they decide and they see what they have to do, and they make it up. Against Washington, they were down 20 points. Against Kansas City.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 65, offense. 2nd down.
And against St. Louis, they were down by 10, and that was a pattern that was established, and they went out and won the game.
But it's more, I think, and I think what you're saying, it's more mental than it is not physically being ready to play.
I think it is. You see Tom Landry there looking at the card. Melvin, the train attendant, he thought that Tom Landry saved special plays for the second half.
We'll see. Andy White. Drew Pearson in a sandwich at the 40. Bill Courier and a group of Giants along with Brad Van Pelt all hit. Van Pelt is down. They all bounced off Drew Pearson.
I'll tell you, that's what has made Drew Pearson a great receiver in this league for 11 years. Now, a lot of guys can run those outside patterns and run those deep ones, but I'll tell you, Pearson goes in there, 4 guys around him, boom, taking that ball right out of the air.
A lot of guys who won't even go in there.
That's right. You know, a lot of them, they like to catch those sideline passes, step out of bounds, catch those deep ones in the end zones, do the dances. They can find a reason why there's nothing inside.
The dance floor is a lot more crowded in the middle of the field. It's 3rd and short. 1 to be exact. White is 8 out of 11 for 70 yards. Pearson's caught 3 for 45. Coffey goes inside and springs. Puts his head down, and it's going to be very close as to whether or not he made the first down. Curtis McGriff. First down, Dallas. For an NFL update, let's take you now to our New York studio and Brent Musburger.
Pat, the sluggish Tampa Bay Buccaneers get a touchdown here from James Owens, but they missed the extra point, and they still trail Minnesota 10-6. Back to Pat and John in Dallas.
Cause for minor celebration anyway, because that's the first touchdown for the Bucs this year. And then they missed the extra point.
On the Buccaneers, they're going to miss Doug Williams more and more.
Right. White fakes to Dorsett, throws. Drew Pearson with a one-handed catch.
To the right. Here comes Drew Pearson. Watch. One hand. Just pluck that thing right out of the air and keep on running. Woo. I like those kind of plays. Bootlegs and crosses and one-handed catches and stuff.
Carson back in the game. White back to pass. Cowboys
thing up to the referee, then it will be. You're right. That defensive back.
Pass interference, number 84. Offense, first down.
Of course, the offensive guy can do it too, and they usually do it. Push the other guy.
First and 19. White back, takes left, throws right, springs, makes a one-handed catch, keeps the ball, bangs down to about the 14. Mark Haynes made the stop.
Harry Carson was back in on that play.
Right.
Now he's walking off the field again.
Well, it's very hot. In addition to being favoring an ankle and favoring a knee, you've got to fight the elements as well. Second and 13 now. They have to score a touchdown. Butch Johnson inside the 5 to about the 4, and that's his first pass reception of the year.
Stopped, planted, and ran to the sideline.
So it's third and goal from the 4.5. 2:02 left. First quarter. Shotgun formation. White. Anybody there? Cosby had it. Dropped it. Touchdown. Touchdown. If he does when his feet hit the ground. Raphael Septien with Glenn Toronto holding. Septien hasn't missed anything all year. And he still hasn't. Let's look at the touchdown one more time.
Again, Danny White's favorite receiver when he gets down here is his big tight end, Doug Cosby, 6'6", because he can see him. Now here Cosby's up. When he comes down, he has to have control. I don't think he did, because his feet have to get down.
1:57 left to play first half. The Cowboys have taken the lead 7-3.
Play. The Cowboys got one on that play.
Whoever. Raphael will kick off. Raphael Septien. 7-3. Septien laces it deep. Good kick. Canfield. 8 yards back of the end zone. Not a better kicker around right now in terms of kickoffs and field goals and extra points than that guy, Septien.
Because, you know, he's one of those guys that's a heck of an athlete. You know, he can do a lot of things besides kick the ball.
Well, they have a racquetball tournament, the Cowboys.
They used to have one for the whole league, and they stopped having it because Septien won it every year. Don't invite him.
Missed the motion. Carpenter on the draw. Anthony Dickerson, good play. Too tall Jones over to chase it down from the other side of the field.
Well, the Cowboy defense has been on the bench, and they had a little rest, so now they can come in and they're all fired up. They're active. Got everything going here pretty good.
First half. We're getting to the situation where the Cowboys might be starting to think about using some of their timeouts so they get the ball back, hopefully in good field position. Bruner back to throw. Randy White. Jason got him. Almost got him. Ernest Gray, the intended receiver. Michael Downs was there, but give a hurry for Randy White.
That's right, and that's one of the situations that the Giant offense can't get into. Let's watch Randy White here. He's going to come right to the left of the screen. See him, he goes right around Art. Here he comes. Boom, boom, boom. And then Bruner has to turn, spin, finds a receiver. He throws a pretty good pass in there.
Yeah.
Just dropped the ball. Pretty good for a guy under harassment.
With scrambling like that. Bruner now goes back to the shotgun so he can have a better look at things. Canfield and Carpenter back there with him. Here comes the pressure again. He's going deep. Pass picked off by Everson Wall. Wall. Knocked out of bounds at the 1 by Bruner.
Tom, you don't have to look for a play. You're on the 1 yard line. That the Giants have a tough time in long yardage. We see here it's going to come right off of the receiver's hand. See, he starts in, the ball's a little behind him. Crosby got a new contract, a week or so ago.
Now he's got a new ball to play with.
Yeah, take it home tonight.
1 minute to go. First and goal at the 1 for Dallas. Dallas 7, the Giants 3. 1 minute left to play in the first half. Giants out of timeouts. Dallas with 3.
It's a surprise the Giants took a timeout there because a change of possession is an automatic timeout anyway. They probably wanted to set their goal line defense.
First and goal from the 1. White. Dorsett hit in the backfield by Haynes. And hit
Here from the ground level. Now watch 36 is the outside guy. Cosby blocks down. Here comes the guard, Scott, the fullback. He just knives right in and gets Dorsett before he can get to him.
Could have hurt. Second and goal from the 2 now. Clock running, 24 seconds remaining. Cowboys with all their timeouts remaining. White. Cosby. A great scrambling touchdown catch by Doug Cosby. One shoe off.
He lost his shoe, but he held on to the ball that time. That was a legal catch in the end zone. But again, Danny White loves to look for Cosby down here because he's such a big target. Watch Cosby come off the line. There's Mark Haynes on him. See, Haynes is following. But see, he's such a big guy. He just throw it in there. The ball bounced off his chest. He comes and gets it back again with one hand.
Wow. Make a great waiter. At the end. Makes it 14-3. Look at this, how he cradles.
I'll tell you, they talk about concentration. I think that's what it is. Because Haynes was right there. The ball bounced off his chest, and that was his boom, next reaction. And then the last one was a bumper.
Set the end to kick off. Keeps it on the ground. Danny Pittman will bring it back. Danny Pittman nailed by Anthony Dickerson.
Well, with 11 seconds now, I'm sure the Giants will just run out the clock and not second guessing, but
Play, and I'm sure you're exactly right, John. That's what they'll do now. And had they done it before, not second guessing, it would still be 7-3. As it is, it's Dallas 14, the Giants 3. And they head to the locker room.
Welcome back to New York. Walter Payton may have lost, but what a day he had for Chicago.
Unbelievable day. Carried the ball 28 times, gained 161 yards, and also threw some touchdown passes. What about that?
2 touchdown passes, both of which were critical at the time. Now here he is going to Willie Galt. This will tie the score at 34. Galt caught 3 touchdown passes on the game, 4 overall. Then New Orleans went ahead, and Payton wasn't finished.
Here again, Payton on a run pass. The defense reacts to that, and Waller said, wait a minute, I'm going to throw again.
Then it was Tim Ryan with time in overtime. 4 minutes to go. Morton Anderson coming on the field to set up for the field goal.
It'll be a 41-yard attempt. They'll spot it at the 31. Merkins holding. Morton Anderson gets it off, and it is good.
And that was the first overtime victory in the New Orleans franchise history, 34-31. It was wild all afternoon long. Other finals now, Baltimore and Buffalo. They shoot it out, perhaps. The Bills are for real under Kay Stevenson, 28-23. But the Colts did score a touchdown against that Bill defense. And the defending Super Bowl champion, Washington Redskins, gave 12 points to the Kansas City Chiefs and their new coach, John Malkovich, and then came storming back. Nick Lowry, with an AFC record 58 58-yard field goal, and that put the Chiefs ahead by 3. Now, Joe Theismann was having all kinds of problems against Makovic's defense. But finally, it was big John Riggins who barreled in the second half, and that got the Redskins back in control of the football game. And from there, Theismann put up this pass, tip, and Warren has got it for the touchdown, and the Redskins win it. The final again was 27-12. San Francisco and St. Louis. And yes, the 49ers appear to be back. Certainly Joe Montana is. On the day, 20 of 32 for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns, including this one.
Freddie Solomon makes it look easy. A 69-yard touchdown pass. The old guy can still run, Brett.
And the final again was 42-27. Pittsburgh and Houston. Franco Harris had another 100-yard game for the Steelers. That is the 44th of his fabulous career. And now the Oilers have lost 10 games in a row. They have not won a game since the strike ended. Atlanta and Detroit shoot it out. Atlanta wins for the first time in the Motor City, 30-14 over the Lions. And finally, the Rams and the Packers slug it out before the Packers pull it out, 27-24 against John Robinson, whose Rams made a brilliant second-half comeback. Watch Lynn Dickey. 9th touchdown pass of the season to John Jefferson. Lofton had 4 catches, but no touchdowns. Vince Ferragamo then, going to the corner of the end zone, and it was Otis Grant. But then for Bart Starr, he has got a man who can block field goals. His name is Gary Lewis. Gary, how do you do it? That was your 4th.
A lot has to do with with my front defensive line. You know, without them, I'm just average. If they didn't give me that extra 1 or 2 yards as far as penetration, then my job would only be average.
That saved the game. Then with 33 seconds to go, Eric Dickerson coughed it up. The Packers recovered. They ran the clock down to 1 second, and Jan Stenerud came on and hit this 27-yard field goal, and the Packers have pulled it out against the Rams, 27-24. Now, of course, there are several games that are still working. The Philadelphia Eagles, they lead the Denver Broncos in the second quarter. 7-0 is the score there. John Elway, the starter, but as you can see, no touchdowns yet. Chuck Knox apparently has turned the Seahawks around. They lead the San Diego Chargers 17-7. They are in the second quarter there. Minnesota over Tampa Bay 13-6. Tommy Kramer has been knocked out of the game. Steve Dills is quarterbacking the Vikings. Tommy will not return because of an injured knee. Obviously, it will be x-rayed. In the game you're enjoying, the Dallas Cowboys have taken a 14-3 lead over the New York Giants. And Irv and I will continue after these messages. Beating the New York Jets by 10 points. Irv, I just can't believe it.
It's hard for all of us to believe because the Jets have a solid football team, and now they're down 1-2.
Well, here's one of the reasons why. Tony Collins exploded for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. He scored on runs of 38, 6, and 23, and they were high-fiving from the beginning to the end up there in Foxborough this afternoon. Now, with time running out in the first half, Richard Todd pulled the Jets to within 3. Missed the extra point. Now Pat Leahy is injured. They've got a kicking problem, so Joe Walton has his work cut out now. But the big man again was Tony Collins. Here he is on the draw, and the Patriots hand the Jets their second straight defeat. And, of course, don't forget that next week, one of our key doubleheader games here at 4 o'clock Eastern.
New York Giants 3. Things really turned around at the end half. Look at this.
We know as we look at it by quarters, the first quarter was a Giants. Look, total yards 108, time of possession over 10 minutes. Look what happened when they went to the second quarter. They only had 6 minutes of time of possession. The Cowboys had 8. But look at those first downs. In the second quarter, the Giants only had 1 first down. The Cowboys had 9.
The way the Giants approached things, the first quarter was textbook. The second quarter was Ali Haji Sheik about ready to kick off. The Giants trailing the Cowboys 14-3 with another half to go. Some of the problems, I think, that we had at the beginning of the game when it was so hot and so humid have disappeared. Clouds have made an appearance, and it's not that bad. Haji Sheik, high kick. Brian Fellows from his own goal line. The straight line Cowboys, they call them now. There goes a penalty marker down, which we'll check on in a minute. Yesterday was picture day here at Texas Stadium, and the Cowboys look like a Christmas card, don't they?
That's a perfect picture. Then it was over, and they said, okay, be yourselves, guys. And this is the Cowboys being themselves. So maybe they still do have a little nonsense.
They're not just mechanical men. They do move, they do talk, they do have fun, they do laugh.
Face
6. Pearson is the wide receiver. They go with 2 tight ends. Cosby on the left, Billy Joe Dupree on the right. White to Dorsett. Dorsett tripped up after about a yard. His best day. So they've shut him down. But the Cowboys have so many folks. Up to shut them all down. Here's White from the shotgun. The Giants flip quickly. He goes in the direction of Cosby, but because they had the hurry on, he couldn't get it there. So White's string of 8 in a row. That's the first time he's missed since the Cowboys made their move. Warren, John Warren, back to kick. Beasley Reese back deep for the Giants. They blocked him. Wasn't his fault. Don't get overly excited too soon. There's a penalty marker down on the other side of the field.
Well, of course, if it's against the Cowboys, it'll be the Giants' ball right there. And it was against the Cowboys.
Flowers is the man who made the rush.
I'll tell you, that Flowers is some special teams guy. Watch, he comes from the outside to the left. Watch him. He just sprints. He's not blocked. He takes a great angle right there. To block a punt, you don't run at the punter. You run to a point 5 yards in front of the punter. This guy has made some big, big plays.
Football game right now as they take over 1st and 10 at the Dallas 31. It is still Scott Brunner at quarterback. Ernest Gray wide to the left. They go with an odd-looking offensive setup. Muddley goes in motion, and Carpenter gets the catch, and Muddley was in motion, and they put the penalty marker down. He was illegally in motion, I should say.
That's probably that same thing. When someone goes in motion, they can't go forward until the ball snaps. I think that's the second time that Mulledy was going forward.
Mulledy comes off now, and Mistler comes in. Parcells will meet him on the sideline. Perhaps have a word with him. 2nd and 8. Mowat was the man in motion, and he stays in the block. Bruner looks downfield, has a man, puts Woolfolk. And Woolfolk is down at the 1. Dennis Thurman tripped him up. Back in business are the New York Giants. 28-yard pickup.
This Giant offensive line is doing a pretty good job of pass protection. You see Ard there on White getting help with Humphrey to the center, and that gave Bruner time to find Woolfolk down the left sideline. Let's watch White now. 54, Randy White. You see Ard get his hands up on him. Look, here comes the center, Humphrey. Boom, just knocks him right on his back. The old double team.
So it's 1st and goal at the 1. Penalty marker down. It's Woolfolk in for the touchdown. Dexter Cookscale made the stop, but flags.
Offside, number 47 defense, penalty declined, touchdown.
Team picture yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
You saw that record for Landry. He's the 3rd winningest coach in the history of the NFL. George Halas and Curly Lambeau are ahead. That's some pretty select company. The Giants scoring drive after the block punt by Flowers gave them the first down at the Dallas 31. That's how far they went to make this game 14-10 in favor of Dallas. Ali Haji Sheikh will kick off. Chuck McSwain catches it and downs it. Here's the touchdown again.
Let's watch it again. I formation. Watch Carpenter, 26. He's a lead block. Just hurl his body right there. Dexter Clinkscale came from the outside to make the tackle too late, and he was also called for being offsides.
Giants have a man hurt on a kickoff. Not sure. Obvious pain. Here's White on 1st down. Dorsett ducks one tackler, Jim Burt, but Curtis McGriff takes him down. There's McLaughlin over on the bench.
I'll tell you, those special teams guys have a tough job running down under kickoffs and punts, because you're not only blocked by someone facing you, you get those angles where people come in from the sides on you all the time. You can't always see them coming.
That is a very difficult way to make a living on special teams. Drew Pearson split out wide to the right. Doug Donnelly to the left. Pearson started in motion. White to Dorsett. He's got two blockers in front this time. Howard Richards, one of them. And Dorsett swings out for his best gain of the day for a first down.
I'll tell you why. Excuse me, Pat. I'll tell you why it was his best game, because he had a fine block from Ron Springs on Byron Hunt, who's playing the left outside linebacker. Springs led, and he came out and he hooked Hunt, and that let Dorsett get to the outside.
Richards and Kurt Peterson both got out in front, as well as that good block by Ron Springs. They remain the two runners. First down, Dallas at their own 31. White will throw on first down. Quickly, Billy Joe Dupree, midfield. Pete Shaw cut him down. 20 yards for Billy Joe. First pass he's caught all year.
Yeah, the Cowboys had two receivers, Butch Johnson, Billy Joe Dupree, who hadn't caught a pass this year. Here we'll see Dupree. He's the tight end, the inside guy. We lose him there for a second. He just runs a little out on the linebacker, Brian Kelly. It was a good see by the quarterback, Danny White, being able to find him. That's why you like those big, tall tight ends. You can always kind of find them in that middle there.
This time, Pearson and Donnelly both come wide to the right, and Crosby goes left. Quick count. Dorsett bangs to the mid-45. D. Hardison made the hit that brought him down. He got about 4.
Of course, that's Jim Burt's job in there. He's the nose tackle. He has to take on that center, Tom Rafferty, stay solid in the middle. I'll tell you, he's doing a pretty good job. The Giants, of course, have lost Bill Neal, their starting nose tackle, but Jim Burt does a good job in there. Tough little guy.
It'll be 2nd and 6. The word on Tony Hill, there's Jim Burt. The word on Tony Hill, by the way, is that his x-rays, they took x-rays on his heart. They were negative, but he won't be back. White. Spring. Maybe he got 2. Let's run down, while we have just a second, some other scores. Seattle 17, San Diego 10. Chuck Knox has the Seahawks flying. Minnesota 13, Tampa Bay 6, as Tommy Kramer was hurt earlier in the day. You saw that. Philadelphia 7, Denver nothing, third quarter score. Right here it's 14-10 Dallas over the Giants, and it's third down 4. Dallas at the Giant 44-yard line. Dorsett moves. White starts, Pearson in motion. White drops the throw. Pearson hanging on his feet. Slung out of bounds by Haynes. Just got a bigger jersey. That's his 5th reception of the day.
I'll tell you that Drew Pearson's a real pro, isn't he? One thing, when something like that happens, you can't react to it. The dumbest thing you can do is throw the ball at the guy or take a swing at him. Now watch Pearson. He'll be out here. He started in. It was the same one that Butch Johnson had run. Started in, saw the coverage from the inside, and then ran back to the outside. The thing that's impressed me is that Mark Haynes did that little jerk on him, and he didn't even wreck, just walked away from him.
Springs this time the lone setback. Pearson in motion. Handoff Springs. He's hit it at backfield and knocked backwards by Harry Carson. Lucky he didn't miss the handoff.
It looked like he darn near did. It looked like they had a little problem with the handoff. Let's just watch it again. We'll see the motion here. Now, there's only one back in the backfield. Now, watch 53, Carson. See, the guard pulls, and he runs right through that hole, vacated by the right guard, and he hit Ron Springs as soon as he looked up. He's lucky he didn't fumble that one, you say.
Second down, 13, 8:05 left to play third quarter. Dallas 14, Giants 10. Dallas at the Giants 36. White. Blitz. Byron Hunt. Nobody blocked him. He did his job.
That's the first sack that the Giants have had today. It's interesting, Byron Hunt is playing for Brad Van Pelt, and I don't think Van Pelt's injured. Watch him. He'll come from the left side. It looks like the back, Forsett turns in and they double team Martin, and no one blocks Byron Hunt.
Van Pelt got hit in the head early in the first half. And all the lights are not back on yet. That's why Byron Hunt's played. 3rd and 22. The shotgun. Giants blitzed again. Byron Hunt in a little verbal exchange. And Byron Hunt's really upset. Byron, as we said earlier, played here collegiately for SMU. What did I do?
That's one of the things that upsets Tom Landry, that delay of the game. They had trouble with it last week in St. Louis. It's the first time they had trouble with it today.
Delayed game, number 11, offense, 3rd down.
Penalty call against the quarterback, Danny White. Dick Nolan and Tom Landry over discussing why it took so long. They've been together a long time.
But of course, when you call plays, you like to get the play in and get the team up to the line of scrimmage with more than 10 seconds remaining.
3rd and 27 is time to take the headset off. 7:21 left to play 3rd quarter from the shotgun. Lawrence Taylor on a blitz. Cowboys with a screen to Spring. From behind. Jerome Sally caught Springs, but he may have got them in field goal range. Warren out now.
That was a heck of a reaction by Jerome Sally. Now, this is a middle screen. Most screens go to the outside. Now, watch this. They let the guys come in the middle. There's Springs. He fakes a block. Then he has his center and guards right in front of him. And here they come down the field. And Jerome Sally chased him and caught him from behind.
If he doesn't, they might indeed be in field goal range, or maybe closer.
At least field goal range.
Warren standing at his own 48. His last one was almost blocked, deflected. That set up the Giants' only touchdown. Warren for the sideline. Beasley released back. Penalty marker down. Bounds inside the 5. Good kick. Now let's see what the penalty is. The Giants are indicating it's against Dallas.
And they're right. 2 years he was a backup kicker, but he kicked inside the 50.
Number 59, offense, 4th down.
But they would put him in, and he was a specialist for punting inside the 50, which they call a pooch punt. He was a poocher at Tennessee.
That's even hard to say.
And named Colquitt was a punter.
Right.
Warren was a poocher.
Well, he's going to have a chance to punt it now. Forget about the pooch. Hangs it high to Beasley Reese. Beasley lets it bounce. And Bill Bates is right there. A teammate of Warren's at Tennessee. 35-yard punt, no return. 14-10 at Texas Stadium. Cowboys lead the Giants, and Brunner throws from his own end zone. Has Munnelly. Giants have some breathing room and a 1st down. Now, let's go for another NFL update to our New York studio and Brent Musburger.
Pat, the $5 million man is a marked man. John Elway of the Denver Broncos just took a wicked forearm to the helmet, delivered by Wes Hopkins of the Philadelphia Eagles. It knocked Elway's headgear completely off. He stayed in the game. Now let's go back to John Madden and Pat Summerall.
Well, the most encouraging thing is to know that Mr. Elway is okay. Brunner. Coach Wolf close to a 1st down before Dexter Clinkscale makes the stop. 14-10. Giants certainly not out of the contest in any way.
You know, one thing the Giants are doing a little different in this game, and I kind of like it. I'm sure Butch Woolfolk likes it. In the first 2 games, they were sweeping him all the time, having him run right and left, trying to get around the end. They weren't successful. Now today, his plays are inside, right into the line and out of the line quickly.
2nd down and 1. Let's see what Brunner does. Carpenter. He got the 1, and that's about all. John Dutton is the Cowboy who made the tackle. Maybe he didn't quite make it. Yes, he did.
I think Carpenter's one of those guys that you really have to work. You have to give him the ball. ball, give him the ball, give him the ball. Mark Van Eegen used to be that way for me. He was a better player when he was tired. And after his first 15 carries, he would start to run like a real fullback. Those first 15, he was never as good. He had too much nervousness.
A lot of golfers like that. They get nervous early. They don't play well until they get tired. Bruner. Ernest Gray got it. Ernest Gray at the 10. It'll be first and goal, or just outside the 10. It won't be first and goal. Everson Walls was back there with him, along with Dennis Thurman. 56-yard pickup.
I'll tell you, that was a great throw and a great catch because Ernest Gray was double-teamed. He was double-teamed by Dennis Thurman and Everson Walls. Watch him here. We'll see it at the end. They have him inside out, and he outruns both of them. You see that? He gets by both of them. Perfect throw right over his right shoulder, and he's finally tackled by Walls. That's throwing deep into double coverage. Look, a little play pass. Gray beats two guys. Watch, he runs right between them. Look at that throw. Right up over the outside shoulder. Perfect pass. Good pattern.
First down, Giants just outside the Cowboy 10. Bruner is going to go for the best. Danny Pittman, the intended receiver. Everson Walls, the defender, deflected it at the last minute.
That was one. They had Everson Walls man-to-man. Danny Pittman just didn't beat him. That's what you look for down here, but watch this. See, he's looking at Pittman. Look at Walls. He's right there with him. Gets a hand in there, that left hand in there at the middle, at the end. You're not going to beat that guy a heck of a lot of times. Pittman didn't that time.
Bruner is 9 out of 15 for 168 yards, picked up at second down. And he'll try one more time. From behind, he's fast. Randy White levels Bruner.
Bruner didn't see it coming. That was one of those plays that the Washington Redskins started, where they move the pocket. It's not a roll, but they bring their lineman. Watch, he's going to move to the right. Here's 54. Danny White will catch him from behind. He starts on a stunt. Look, he goes all the way outside, then he's going to come all the way around. Look at Bruner. He's looking, waiting. Too long. Here comes Randy White. Oh, boy.
Have to give Harvey Martin a little credit, too, because he occupied two blockers.
He did. He grabbed the two blockers so Randy White could go around them.
So it's third down. That's Wolford in motion, and Bruner backpedals and fires over their head. Ernest Gray, Ron Fellows back there with him. The Cowboy defense is equal to this occasion, and we'll see Ali Haji Sheikh.
Well, I'll tell you, you can't fault the Giants here. They got good field position. They took 3 shots at it. They just didn't beat anyone. Look, here he has pretty good protection. You see the ball coming right to Gray, but we'll also see right with Gray is Ron Fellows, number 27.
Good coverage.
Yeah, the ball was a little high, too, but he was still, the coverage was so good, you're not going to complete that anyway.
Ali Haji Sheikh from 27 yards out. Good. Ali Haji Sheikh brings the Giants to within 1. Pat Summerall, John Madden, Texas Stadium. 14-13. Cowboys lead the Giants. A lot of time left. 3:35, third quarter. Sheikh, Haji Sheikh picks off to Chuck McSwain this time. McSwain to the 19. The scoring drive by the Giants that brought them to within 1. 8 plays, 81 yards. A big flat pass from Bruner to Ernest Gray, 56 yards. And Haji Sheikh added the 27-yard field goal. It's 14-13. Tom Landry's got his list out. Maybe Melvin, the attendant on the train, was right.
Well, Melvin says in the second half he pulls plays from up his sleeve. No one else knows about it.
Reverse coming. Drew Pearson has blockers in front, but not enough. Harry Carson made the stop. More about how he plays those reverses in a minute, but right now let's go back to New York studio and Brent Musburg.
of an update, but Australia the Second has won her first race in the America's Cup competition. Liberty of the United States, of course, won the first two. Yesterday was a washout. So tomorrow they have scheduled the fourth leg. And again, Australia the Second wins and wins easily today. Now let's go back to Pat and John.
They're going to measure and see if Drew Pearson picked up a first down on that reverse. Drew Pearson was shaken up a little bit, I think.
He was. Remember, Bill Parcells was telling us yesterday that Harry Carson is the best linebacker he's ever seen against the reverse. He said he never gets fooled, and he always makes a play on the reverse. And he was the guy that made the tackle.
And it's not something that you teach. It is instinct.
He says usually the guy that you teach and reads all his keys will usually be fooled by a reverse. But the guy with great instinct won't, because he starts going one way, sees it, just runs back the other way and tackles it.
It was a first down, and the Cowboys move out to their own 29. White. Spring. Got one good. Drew Pearson put a block on Bill Courier that he'll recall for a while.
It looked more like a flying leap, you know, like one of those things they do in professional wrestling where they get up on the ring and jump off at the guy. Watch his Springs, it's a little play pass. Springs is the first back out here in the flat. White sees him, hits him here. Now watch Drew Pearson come up. Now watch his block that he makes right here. Boom, he just throws it like he's coming off the rope, like big time wrestling or something. Yeah, they jump up, boom, they jump on him.
2nd and 1. 19 out of 23 for Danny White. That leap must have a name. White. Pearson. First down. Midfield. Terry Jackson knocked him out of bounds.
Look at that on the Giants sideline. You know, we've talked about this before. Every stadium in the National Football League has to have an X-ray machine on the premises. So they can take a player in, X-ray that player, look at him right down. I think the X-rays were on Joe McLaughlin on that play.
Yeah.
I think that's who it is. 52. There he is, and then the guy's saying, "We just saw the pictures of it, and that's what you got." And he's saying, "Yeah, okay, I know that."
First down, Cowboys. Cosby started in motion. They fake to him. Cosby should be open. Lawrence Taylor. Now there's instinct. Lawrence Taylor almost made the interception. Cosby was the intended receiver. And let's just, John, just watch that play.
Because he was fooled. Now watch, Taylor will start out. You see, he starts inside. He thinks it's play pass. He said, "Oh, I got to cover that guy." There he goes. He puts his hand out there, and he backs up and gets in position for an interception. The ball goes right through his hands, and he bats it with his right hand. Cosby's pointing at him saying, "Interference." It wasn't interference. He took a grab. I don't think he caught him, though, did he?
No, he didn't.
You can take a grab as long as you don't grab.
2nd and 10. White gives to Dorsett. Dorsett tripped up in the backfield by Bill Courier, who has hurt himself now. He walks off. Tries to. Walks back into the huddle now, but he's limping.
You know, Bill Courier is a strong safety, and a strong safety is a guy on the strong side who lines up on the tight end and has to force the run support. He's the outside guy in the sweep. Courier got up, he got
Averaging 2.9. So again, against the Giants, it's not a vintage day. Shotgun time with 1:55 left, third quarter. The Giants put the pressure on. Donnelly will have the first down. Haynes makes the stop. But he got it.
I think Mark Haynes was playing a little too deep. 3rd and 10. You can't let that guy catch that 11-yard hook in front of you. I think you have to play him a little tighter than this. We'll see it right here. You see, he gets there, but he gets there too late. Let's see if we can watch it from this camera. Now, here's the coach's camera. Now, see, you see how deep he is, and then he lets Donnelly drive him off. Now, watch when he hooks right at 11 yards. Haynes isn't in position to do anything about it.
Donnelly picked up just enough to get that first down. Wiseman, 4 catches for him. Here's Dorsett. The ball's out of the pack, and the Giants have it.
Watch this. Dorsett's going to come up here into the middle. They get a block right there. Here comes some action. Now watch right there. Looks like Hardison. Oh, it was Sally. Put his helmet right on the ball. The ball popped out, and here comes Hardison.
He made their coverage.
The guy that makes the hit is Jerome Sally, 78. Watch right there. It was Curtis McGriff, excuse me. Then someone else came in. And then Hardison gets it. Giants ball.
First down, minute to go, third quarter.
In the NFL.
First down. Giants. 1 minute left, third quarter. Rob Carpenter got maybe 2 yards. Bob Brunick following Carpenter as the Giants expected made the stop. Let's go back and look at that first down play selection again for the Giants. 16 rushes, 3 passes.
Of course, that was their plan, and they're sticking with the plan. Now with the score 14-13, only down by 1, they can go back to that plan that makes sense again.
Well, I remember what Tom Landry said yesterday. They've got good defense. They've got a good kicking game. They're going to be in every game, and they're very much in this one. Bruner, outside, caught by Missler, right at midfield.
You know, one point that I think has to be made here is that of the Cowboy defensive line, Randy White's the only guy that really made a play today. And this Giant offense has done a pretty good job. Now, let's watch Brad Benson here on Harvey Martin, 79. Look, you catch him right there. He goes the arm over, put those hands up, keep him right there in the line. The old double thing there. That's nice pass protection. But you haven't heard from Harvey Martin or Ed Too Tall Jones.
And a couple of times from John Dutton, but not as a pass rusher. It's 14-13 at the end of 3.
We are an explorer, a farmer, a miner, and an insurance company. We're a pipeline, a truck line, a gold mine, and a leasing company. We're a builder, a printer, a logger, and an energy company. We are more than 41,000 men and women working in 18 different industries all across America.
Sold out for the match between the Cowboys and the Giants, and nobody is disappointed. 14-13, Dallas leading, 3rd and 4. Mulledy in motion. Started to feel he might have been in motion again. He was. There should be offensive pass interference as well. But Mulledy was in motion again. Danny Pittman caught the pass.
See, we can watch Danny Pittman out here on the outside, 82. It looks at right there at the end like he pushed it. Yeah, he did with his left hand.
Illegal motion, number 81, offense, 3rd down.
You know, the officials didn't call that, though.
No,
they called that illegal catch, but they did have 81, Tom Mulledy, for illegal motion. I think that's the 3rd time he's done that today.
That's correct.
You think by now he would have made that mistake enough that they'd get that one straightened out, work on some new ones.
We'll send somebody else in motion. 3rd and 9. Dallas showing blitz, and here they come, and Mulledy. Whoop. Penalty marker down is Ernest Gray. Comes up with a catch, and everybody threw a flag.
It'd be one of those things where we're going to have a couple penalties on this one. That's holding on the Giants.
Michael Downs on a blitz, number 26.
But they're trying to see what that second penalty is. That's one thing about the Dallas Cowboy defense. They're blitzing more and more. A lot of those secondary guys come. Pushing off offensively. No, that happened on the last play. No, you missed that last play, not this one. Let's watch the blitz. There's Michael Downs, number 26. Dexter Clinkscales, 47. They get right up there. Campfield didn't get Downs blocked.
Here's Jerry Markbright.
Pass interference, number 81, offense, penalty decline.
thinks there's a possibility he might have to punt. 14:50 left third quarter. Canfield knocked out of bounds by Anthony Dickerson, short of the first down, and Jennings will have a chance to do his job. And while we wait for Jennings to come along, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat, third down for John Elway and the Broncos. They're on the Eagles' 25. Elway pulls out. He wants Steve Watson in the corner. And look out, here comes Herman Edwards, who intercepts, and the woes mount for Elway. Let's go back now to Pat and John.
I guess John Elway, Brent, had a tough time in Baltimore last week. And not what you'd call a really outstanding welcome home.
I've always felt, I've always felt the best way for a quarterback to learn the NFL is on the bench.
Jennings aiming for out of bounds and got it there. He's done a good job. He knows it. We'll return to Texas Stadium after this word from your... They put the Cowboys in the hole. They lead by 1 point.
That's why that third down run by Campfield was so big. It was 13 yards, but that put Jennings in position to be able to do that.
Double tight end set up for Dallas. Pearson in motion. Handoff inside, Springs outside the 5 to about the 7. The Giants had it diagnosed pretty well as Byron Hunt made the stop.
See if we can watch Byron Hunt. Here he is. He's the left outside linebacker. He'll be lined up on the tight end. You see, he takes on the tight end, sees the ball to the inside, takes on Cosby, comes right down the line to make the play.
There's a guy who doesn't start, but who is an outstanding player.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of teams in the NFL that would like to have him. I think he's one of the most popular trade baits the Giants have, but they won't give him up.
White. Cosby. Shoe off outside the 10. The shoe got a first down. I'm not sure Cosby did.
Yeah. No, the ball's a little short, I think. I think I've seen more shoes lost today in this game than any other NFL game that I can remember.
First down, Dallas. A little bit room to maneuver. 14-13, the Cowboys leave, and they shuttle those guards. That's Herbert Scott coming in. White is 22 out of 27 for 222 yards. Yet they only have 14 points.
Of course, every play is called with the guards, either Herbert Scott or Howard Richards. They alternate on every play, bringing in a play from Tom Landry.
They are using Cosby as a wide receiver now, with Donnelly and Pearson both split to the left. Outside, Donnelly. Donnelly, who's got that great speed, cuts back inside. Penalty goes down, and it's going to be against Drew Pearson, who cracked back on Terry Jackson.
Terry Jackson and Drew Pearson are still talking about it. I'll tell you, though, that's what you get from hustling. You know, that's not a bad penalty Drew Pearson gets. None of them are good, but at least the guy's all over the field. When he catches it, that's great, but he's out there blocking for the other guy, trying to spring him, and that's the way you get big plays when your wide receivers make a block. And then sometimes you're going to get a clip, and you have to take those things.
You know, Tom Landry was saying to us yesterday that this is the best he's seen Drew Pearson in a long time. Let's watch it now.
Let's watch it. It'll be at the bottom of the picture, right there. You see it is. He came in and got Terry Jackson right from behind. I used to always say, if you can read their name, don't block them.
Clipping, number 88, offense, first down.
But I wonder if that change in his approach to playing Drew Pearson I'm talking about now has to do with the fact that he was elected, along with Danny White and Brunig and Ron Fellows, to be the captain.
I think that has something to do with it. I think another thing is money. His contract runs out this year. He said he's going to retire unless they give him the type of money that he deserves.
First and 12. White back to throw.
was one that you don't expect. That was a strong safety. Courier, we'll see him from the outside. You see White starts, he play fakes, and here comes Courier from the outside, number 29. White didn't have anyone open, good coverage downfield, and he had to wait, hold the ball, and Courier got there.
Nobody to block it. 2nd and 21. Ball is back at the 4. And the squeeze is starting to come on. Dorsett swings to the outside. Cuts back inside. Terry Jackson made a good play to bring him down.
You can hold Dorsett down a little, but you're not going to hold him down a lot. That was a great move that he made there. He started to the inside, held the whole defense, and then bounced outside to the left. Look at the way he walks back to the huddle like he's never going to get there. There's a block by Peterson. You see, he drew the defense in. He started up inside, then he was able to bounce to the outside. There's Doug Donnelly rolling along. He didn't get Jackson.
Dorsett really limping off. He's in pain now. 3rd and 5. Not sure why they stopped it.
Well, that 30-second clock is down to 2. Maybe the Cowboys took a timeout because they were going to get a penalty.
I think they stopped it for Dorsett, who has a cramp, I think.
But now here's an interesting thing. See, the 30-second clock is at 2. 1-0. That's a penalty. Referee doesn't see it. Now he's starting it again.
They gonna restart it?
Yeah, he just started it again.
Well, that doesn't seem quite right.
I don't think so. I don't think you can run it down to 2 and then start it over again.
White this time has time. Cosby got tangled up with Andy Hedden. Penalty marker down. They're going to be holding. They'll be called for holding. I doubt the Giants would accept it.
Let's see if we can see the rush and see where the holding is. That could be a number of guys right there. It looks like Howard Richards had his left hand. There's a takedown right there. I think that's a right tackle, Jim Cooper.
Holding number 61. Offense declined. 4th down.
That's who they caught, Jim Cooper, for the old takedown. 3 points.
And they did decline. That's Dorsett. I don't know. I thought it was a cramp. I'm not sure.
They usually rub a cramp.
Yeah. That one didn't look like a cramp in that case. 4th and 5. Warren foul that one off.
That's a new term. I'd never heard that. But Tom Landry told us that. They always said, how's your punter, John Warren? He said he's good. He keeps you optimistic. He kicks great in practice. He said, but he'll foul one off on you once in a while.
Foul that one 25 yards, and that puts the Giants in pretty good shape. Boy, 45-yard line, 1st and 10. Seattle 27, San Diego 10. Hello, Chuck Knox. Missler comes in motion. They pitch back to Butch Wolford. Cowboy defense had him surrounded, but he scrambled for about 4 before Everson Walls took him down. Minnesota 13, Tampa Bay 9 now, 4th quarter. In Philadelphia 10, Denver 3, 4th quarter. Giants 1-1, Dallas 2-0. The Giants with a chance to get even with the Cowboys. 2nd and 8. Bruner 10 out of 18. One interception by Walls, which was a big one that set up the Cowboys' 2nd touchdown just before the end of the 1st half. Bruner back to throw. Under pressure. John Dutton takes him down. 1st sack.
I think that's one of those sacks that you credit the secondary with, because Bruner was looking and waiting. As we watch it again, the I formation makes a little play fake here. Now watch, he has to wait. He has no one open. He's waiting, and he waits too long. And by that time, John Dutton gets around J.T. Turner.
Dutton probably playing better now this year at this point than he ever has since he's been a Cowboy. second sack. This is by Bill Bates.
Gotta like him. I tell you, there's a tough guy. He's a free agent from Tennessee. He's going to come in a blitz. You watch him. Here's number 40. He comes. We see the tackle going inside, too tall outside. Bates goes right between them. No one picks him up. Scott Bruner didn't have a chance.
Bates is one of those guys who just hurts you by being close by. Jennings doesn't catch all of this one. Fellows at the 18. Juking and dancing, gets out to about the 24. Cowboys take over, 38-yard punt this time by Jennings. 6-yard return. Dave not happy with that. Dorsett not happy with his situation at the moment. Dallas on top by 1.
Chevrolet's new celebrity.
Left to play. Cowboys 14, Giants 13. Ball at the 24-yard line of Dallas. Cowboys this year. They won 2 on the road in Washington and St. Louis. They're 2-0. Giants 1-1. Newsom in the backfield now with Springs as Dorsett. Well, we'll just have to find out what happened to him. Pearson and Murphy. Pitch back to Newsom. To the first half. Giants leading 3-0, 3rd and 4 for Dallas.
Of course, you know, if the score ends up 14-13, they're always going to talk about this play. Here it is, Doug Cosby. He's in the air. Now, the rule says that he has to come down with the ball and both feet. Now, watch. His left foot hits, the ball pops out. That was an illegal touchdown. And, of course, if the score ends up like this, 14-13, they're going to talk about that play all week.
And maybe the rest of the year, whatever happened. Here's White. Outside Springs, he is nailed by, Timmy Newsom hit by Terry Jackson.
Now you wonder why Terry Jackson is making the tackle on a running back in the flat. And the reason is it's a zone defense. And Terry Jackson is the right corner out here. He is rotating up, and he has that outside flat. We'll see the pass protection there. Good time for White. And there's Terry Jackson. You see, he's the short man, so he's right there when Timmy Newsom catches the ball.
But there is a penalty marker down. It's Dick Nolan and Tom Landry.
Holding, number 36, defense, automatic first down.
Holding against Mark Haynes, automatic first down, Dallas. They'll move the chains. Herbert Scott comes in with the play for Danny White.
It was one of those things away from the action. Mark Haynes, of course, lines up as a left corner, and all the action was over here on the other side.
So it's a first down, automatic first down, with exactly 9 minutes left to play. White 23 out of 29 now. Newsom barrels up for about 4. Let's go to Brent Musburger in our New York studio for an update.
Pat, the Buccaneers' new quarterback, and Jack Thompson threw this 5-yard touchdown pass to James Wilder, and the Buccaneers now lead the Bikes, who are without Tommy Kramer, 16-13. Let's go back to Pat and Josh.
Here at Texas Stadium, Brent, it's 14-13. Dallas Cowboys over the Giants. Dallas with the ball second and 5 at their own 35. Newsom and Springs the runners. Dorsett has been sidelined. Now Springs, who scampered out in motion. Pass for Butch Johnson, overthrown by White. Mark Haynes in the coverage.
Let's watch Lawrence Taylor here, 56 on the rush. Now watch the different ways that he's getting blocked. He's bumped there by the left tackle, Pat Donovan, who just drives him right into the middle, but he keeps going after Danny White. You know, the days of Lawrence Taylor being blocked by a running back are over.
Never going to happen again by anybody who plays against him or this team. They're going to put a big man or 2 big men on him. That's the kind of dictation he furnishes. He makes you make changes for him. White for Bush. Picked off by Larry as he drops it, picks it back up, and White comes over to make the tackle. Danny White came dashing from nowhere to knock Flowers out of bounds.
I tell you, in the past 2 weeks, this guy's made a lot of big plays for the Giants. Of course, most of them have been on special teams, and now on that one, he makes it as a defensive back. You know why Danny White makes the tackle? He's the guy that threw the ball. He's the one that's the most upset about it. Watch him. He's right there. He throws it into a crowd. Flowers just comes up, makes the play, and here he goes up the sideline. Now watch number 11. He bounces right back up to him. That's a little lucky break. Here comes Danny White right there. Nice tackle. Looked like a linebacker. Tackle him with his left shoulder, though.
14-13, but the Giants move back in good shape. At the moment. Although they do trail by 1 point. Landry. Home opener. Scott Brunner trying to beat the Cowboys. Miskler in motion. Brunner inside handoff. Butch Wolford. Nothing doing. A loss of a yard by Butch. Dexter Clinkscale reacted quickly along with Mike Hegman. Penalty against the Giants. Boy, those penalties, when you get in this range in this kind of game, that take you out of that field goal range.
That's what happened to the Giants in the first game against the Rams. Remember, every time they'd get something going, they'd have that penalty. But I would think now's the time. You have a fullback like Rob Carpenter. You've done enough of the misdirection. Get back, just hand the ball.
Illegal use of the hands, number 68, offense, first down.
But now this situation dictates that maybe you can't do that.
I would. I think the best thing the Cowboys do is get in that 4-man rush with 6 defensive backs. And you want to stay away from that.
So it's 1st and 20. They don't have their 6 defensive backs now. It's a regular defensive setup as Bruning calls what he thinks should happen. Well, here's Woolfolk again. He gets back to the outside and look out. He's still on his feet. Butch Wolffolk down to the 35-yard line. He got him back in range. 14-yard pickup.
I think that was a real smart call. I think had they started there, 1st down and 20, and start throwing and then blitzing and getting sacked and stuff, they just keep getting in more trouble. Here a little draw, delay to Woolfolk, makes a nice cut there on Brunig. Middle linebacker was keying him, then cuts all the way across the field, back up, and picks up 14 yards.
12 carries for 58 yards. For Butch, by far his best game this year. 2nd and 6 now. Well, they're doing exactly what you said. Except Michael Downs and company with a big assist from Too Tall Jones knock him backwards.
That's right. The Giants didn't get any movement on that right side, and the Cowboys got penetration, and there was nowhere for Butch Woolfolk to go. Let's watch it here. Now watch what happens on this side here. You see Too Tall takes on King. There's no penetration there. The corner comes up from the outside, and the safety's up there. They had everyone up. There was no place for Woolfolk to go.
Loss of 3, make it 39. 6:38 left to play. This is Miskler in motion. From the shotgun, they're after Brunner. It's picked off. Dexter Clinkscale could go, should go, will go.
Anthony Dickerson just had a straight shot at him like he was projected out of a rocket or something, and he was trying to throw, trying to get rid of it, and he threw it a little to the outside.
Dexter Clinkscale took it into the other end zone. And what was a very close game turned into 28-13. Phil Simms looking back to the sideline, didn't have but 10 players out there. Danny Pittman came in late. Missler gave him the message as to what he's supposed to run. Simms is going to have to throw. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. Dutton all over him. Missler incomplete. It bounced.
John Dutton is there complaining that someone held him on that play. Now watch him. He's the inside guy here. He starts up on the guard on J.T. Turner, runs the stunt. He loops to the outside, and he's saying that someone grabbed him. Look at King's left hand on his pants.
Someone did.
Watch Dutton. He turns around and says, "Who grabbed me from behind?" Dirty guy.
Dutton gets a brief rest. Now they come at you. Simms. Another shoe off. Missler, the reception. This is Bill Bates who lost his shoe this time. Seattle 34, San Diego 17. Does that surprise you?
That really does, but of course Seattle surprised me last week against the Jets too. There's a team that's for real.
Simms has to scramble. Smerrick and too tall Jones take him down, but there is a penalty marker down. Tampa Bay 16, Minnesota 13. Someone might win that division by default.
They usually do. I think two of the Cinderella teams this year, it seems like every year we have a Cinderella team.
Offside, number 72, defense, first down.
Last year, of course, was the Washington Redskins. The year before that, it was the 49ers. I think this year it could be a Seattle or the Los Angeles Rams. That Cinderella team, that no one is really thinking about.
And you'll see them both next week. Part of our doubleheader here on CBS. Simms back. Simms with time. Simms deep. Thurman will pick it off. Danny Pittman, the intended receiver. The defense for the Cowboys has risen.
Let's watch it again here now. Simms does have pretty good protection. Good blocking. He has time. He's looking. Now he has to run out here to the right a little. Throws on the run, and he doesn't get everything on it. Dennis Thurman is underneath. Good position for the interception.
It's another remarkable guy. Not Phil Simms, although he is. Talking with Pat Hodgson right there. But Dennis Thurman. They say he's playing out of position. They say he's not big enough to do that job, but he keeps doing it. To Donnelly. 6. Jackson knocked him out of bounds.
I think the key word there, talking about the defensive backs of the Cowboys, Dennis Thurman, Everson Walls, even Michael Downs, is just confidence. Those guys are all young guys. They play like they've been in the league for 22 years, and they're just so confident that they don't know that they don't have great speed and those types of things. They just keep coming up with big plays.
Well, that is such an important element in sports, particularly, I think, as a defensive back. Second down. 5:14 left. The handoff is to Newsom. Newsom just short of midfield, stopped by Lawrence Taylor, short of a first down by about a yard. Time remaining now 5 minutes.
These Cowboys are something. Last night they stayed in a hotel for the first time in a decade or something. And Tom Landry was saying, he said, I'm making all those changes just to get out of a groove. We've been in a groove, and I want to get out of that. He said, I'd like to see these guys get mad at me, and maybe they'll be mad on the field.
Maybe the heat will carry over till the next day. Newsom trying for the first down, may or may not. I don't think so. Mark Haynes made the hit. He's about a foot trips around Dallas-Fort Worth area. John Warren has done a good job today as the punter for the Cowboys, but the element of not having Danny White back there is a big difference.
You know, it might really come back to haunt him during the season sometimes, because the thing that Danny White got so many big plays running with the ball. Remember that so many first downs where he'd just take off and run.
Warren hangs it up there for 3-9. Beasley Reese, who was a Cowboy. And look who's down to make the tackle. Robert Newhouse. Now they got a little scuffle between Dickerson and somebody. Pete Shaw. But Newhouse down under the punt again.
One thing about these Cowboys, they'll put their starting players on here's Newhouse coming down, making the play right there on Beasley Reese. There's Dickerson. He's a starting right linebacker. He likes that action. Look, face mask, punch, hold on, get the left underneath counter.
It's hard to fight with somebody holding your face mask.
Yeah, looks like boom boom against bang bang.
That'll be on CBS Sports Saturday next week.
I always wanted that fight. You know, they were supposed to fight one time, and boom boom hurt his shoulder, so the fight was canceled. Now he's fighting other guys, but I'd always love to see that boom boom against bang bang. In fact, I'd like to be the guy who, boom bang boom,
Personal
bang
foul.
bang boom boom, boom bang.
Necessary roughness. Number 44 on the receiving team. Number 58 on the kicking team. We have an illegal block on the receiving team. All fouls after possession change. First down at the dead ball spot.
Holy cow. You may not see 60 minutes in its entirety after
By rule.
He's still talking. He had some more to say. Yeah, there had to be. That's a lot of stuff. That was probably some flags and some hats and some bean bags on the ground. And that's all they get all that stuff.
I'm surprised we didn't see another shoe on that one.
Wonder what they do. They throw their flag first, or if they see another one, they throw their hat. They see a third one, they throw the bean bag. I would wonder what they do if they had a fourth penalty.
Call Jim Palmer. This is Butch Wolfe. Outside the 30 to about the 33. Bill Bates on the tackle. Bill Sims in the relief of Scott Bruner. Missler, the intended receiver, Harrison Walls knocks it away. The Giant turnovers have been not profitable unless you're with the Cowboys. The miscue was an interception. The result was a touchdown. Interception, touchdown. Fumble, touchdown. Interception, they finally had the punt. Penalty flag down now.
That's the most important statistic. It's not always turnovers. I think ratio of turnovers is important. And the other thing is what you do with the turnover after you get it. You get a turnover, and then if you have to punt, it didn't mean anything.
Holding number 68, offense, first down.
3:08 left to play. The Giants trailing the Cowboys 28-13. Everybody, both teams have all their timeouts remaining. First and 20 from the 24. Off play, Wolf. Break one. Bill Bates. Fast becoming a favorite.
I'll tell you, he's a typical underdog, tough type of guy. University of Tennessee, biggest claim to fame in college was that Herschel Walker ran over him on his first touchdown he ever scored at Georgia. Comes here, not drafted, signs as a free agent, makes the team.
That's Bill Bates driving the pickup. Danny Pittman, the intended receiver. There's Bates.
Oh yeah, he'll drive a pickup. He's a good old boy.
Yeah.
He really is. But you love to see those type of guys, make it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guys are drafted in the first, second round. They get the big bonuses. They have agents. They have all this stuff. Here's a guy who comes in, cleats hanging over his shoulder, probably
60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety following football, except on the West Coast, where it'll be seen at its regular time. It will still be a premiere. Pass from Sims broken up by Dickerson and Dexter Clinkscale. Let's see what happened to Tony Dorsett if we can figure out. It's right knee. It looks like it could be just below the right knee. A sprain, we understand.
Well, what they do is, of course, they try and get that ice on it immediately with the pressure so that he doesn't get a lot of swelling in the knee, and then they'll evaluate that after the game.
He doesn't really seem that concerned about it. Phil Sims will make a visit to the sideline. 2:07 left to play in this football game. Cowboys 28, Giants 13. Pat Summerall and John Madden at Texas Stadium, where the Cowboys lead the Giants 28-13 in a game that really has a very misleading score. Philadelphia 10, Denver 10. That's not misleading. Minnesota 16, Tampa Bay 16. Everybody playing to a draw today.
Yeah, a lot of ties. The Rams were tied with Green Bay until right there at the end today when Jan Stenerud made the field goal, and these guys are all tied up.
But here, it looked like all of a sudden the Dallas defense created 2 turnovers, and they lead 28-13. Here's Phil Sims. Smerrick puts the heat on him. Sims unloads. Sherman has the interception. They say that Sims was down or in the grass.
That's the in the grass rule. The referee blew the whistle before the ball was thrown, so he was ruled. Now watch this. Now, they did this a few years ago to protect the quarterbacks. I think it's a smart rule. If they have him in the grass, if the defensive guy has him, look like right there, see? They say right there he's in the grass. The referee blows the whistle, calls it dead, so that you don't get all those guys jumping on him once they have him.
It was Larry Bethea who put the heat on Sims. The Cowboys have their backup group in the defensive line now. They have their number Henry says is going to be a player, but not quite ready yet. And the rest of the backups. Sims talking with Hodgson. For an update, let's go to Brent Musburger.
Pat, here is John Elway's first touchdown pass in the NFL. 33 yards to Rick Parris. There is now about a minute and a half to go in Denver, and they are tied at 10. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Brent, here we have 2 minutes with Dallas leading the New York Giants 28-13. 68-yard return with an interception by Dexter Clinkscale. And then a fumble on the ensuing kickoff, which was caused by a hit by Robert Newhouse. Michael Downs picked it up and scored. Turned what was a very close game into a game that has let the Cowboys relax just a little bit.
It's one of those tie games we're talking about, tied at 16 in overtime.
Well, that's another one of those, John, that we've all been talked about. That Tampa Bay-Minnesota tie where the extra point that they missed, the Buccaneers, comes back to haunt you.
Most of the time it does.
That's another Tex Schramm, the president of the Cowboys, invention. That C on his left shoulder. That's for captain. That may be why he's playing so well. 3rd and 18. Sims to drop. Cowboys pursue. Sims throws outside. Walls. Good coverage. Ernest Gray, the intended receiver, but Walls is right in perfect position.
Let's watch the blocking inside here. The Cowboys now, they faked a blitz. You see, watch Art there. He has a hold of the right shoulder, and then he got used to that, got tired of that, held the left shoulder, and then pushed him off at the end. That's a form of pass protection. Just fighting for your life.
Watching Smerrick's move that last time, watching him flail his arm. He does that with this to get those other guys' arms off of you.
Well, they can't head slap anymore.
Sims under pressure, has to come out of the pocket. Throws for Pittman. He can't hang on. And the Cowboys, Larry Bethea in hot pursuit. Let's watch Merrick's arms now.
Watch them. The first thing, of course, they can't head slap, so they start slapping at the shoulders. You see, they grab the shoulder there, arm over, grab the other shoulder, try another arm over, double team, pushed around. And things happen to those guys in the pits in that pass rush.
Yeah.
He's saying, why me? I shouldn't draw all that attention.
You know, I played in the NFL for 10 years, and every time I see something like that, I wonder, why did I ever do that? Why was that my choice in life?
But they don't even know it until they watch it on the films the next day.
Right.
They'll wake up tomorrow, they have a tough time getting out of bed, and they say, geez, I wonder why that hurt. And then they see the film, and they say, now I know.
And then 2 days later, they go to the orthopedic surgeon. White throws back to Newsom. Giants saying they have the ball. Maybe they do.
Officials saying no. One of the interesting things that's going to come out of this game is whether or not the controversy of the quarterback, the starting quarterback in New York, will start up again. Now, I wonder if by putting in Phil Simms, taking out Scott Bruner, I wonder if that means that it's going to be opened or if Bruner is still the starter.
Well, personally, I think that Bill Parcells, as you said before, if they just give him time, or if he just does get time, not they, that he's going to be one of the outstanding coaches. I think he'll stay with Bruner.
I do too, but I bet that'll be a topic of conversation in the newspapers.
Sure will do. Ron Springs gets the carry and spins around for a couple. Brad Van Pelt made the stop. Less than a minute now, 48 seconds, in fact, left to play. Timeout, Giants. Executive producing. Associate producer Joan Vitrano, field technical manager Walter Pyle, the broadcast associate Scott Johnson, Bob Brown, the technical director, Bob Seiderman, responsible for the noise you've heard, not necessarily just from us. There's a little sign of acknowledgement. Score by halves. Look at this. And this is what the Cowboys have done. 36-34 at the half, 59-24 when it's all over.
That's what Melvin says. Tom Landry has plays up his sleeve. He only uses them in the second half.
White downfield, pump fakes, penalty marker down. White just strolling around, finally does throw, duck pocket. I don't know if that's a penalty mark or not. It may be an elbow brace or something. But he did, I believe, finally go over the line of scrimmage when he let it go.
I think he did, and I think there is a penalty marker, and I think that's what Jerry Markbright is calling right here. Is illegal pass. Yeah, that's what that means.
Well, the line of scrimmage was back at about the 43.
Number 11, loss of down, fourth down.
He threw from the 41.
That's one of the tough penalties. Any gain that you get, you lose it. You have the penalty, and you lose the down. This is Danny White's day.
22 out of 34. 24 out of 32, I'm sorry. Pretty good day. And it's got everybody up, nobody back. John Warren at the third. Flag is thrown back at about the 45-yard line. Warren gets the ball out of bounds. 33-yard punt out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Illegal motion against the Dallas Cowboys. So the Giants obviously would make them do it again. With 28 seconds left to play, the ball back at the 45. 28 seconds left to play. They put it back in the middle of the star.
Formation, 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Offense, fourth down.
You know, another thing we were talking about yesterday, maybe the viewers and listeners are getting tired of hearing it, but the Cowboys Cowboys seem to be a very vocal team, and the players have a lot to say about what they disagree with.
I know they do. You know, they'll say after a game, you know about officiating, about players in the other team, about Coach Landry. But I think that the Cowboys encourage that. I think Tom Landry does. I think he thinks that's okay. You want to get mad? Go ahead. We're still going to do it that way.
My way.
My way.
Warren changes it up again to the left. This time, Bates dropped it back into the field, and they recovered at the 2-yard line. Scott McLean is down there with Bates. Bates made a very athletic play.
I'll tell you, he sure is a headsy player for a rookie. You know, last week he made the big interception against St. Louis. We've seen him make big hits, and here on special teams he makes a big play. Of course, it's a little late here. It doesn't mean that much, but it's still the type of thing that you like to see young players do.
Still he's hustling. Chance we may be changing to other games. We may be throwing you to Tampa or Denver. So we just like to say so long from John Madden and Pat Summerall and the rest of it. Penalty marker down. Sims is tackled in the end zone.
Now, if that's a penalty on the Giants in the end zone, that's 2 points. That would be a safety if we're Giants holding. I think it's going to be against the Cowboys.
Number 76. Defense, no safety.
No safety. Who's been making noises about playing on a regular basis lately.
He's also been making noises about going to the USFL.
Along with some of the other Cowboys.
Ron Springs.
Smurrick. This time, Sims standing in the end zone, throw it. Caught by Ernest Gray, tackled by Everson Wall. That should do it. Well, again, we would like to say goodbye. John Madden and Pat Summerall at Texas Stadium, where the Cowboys have defeated the Giants 28-13. And let's now send you to another game and join Tom, Brookshire, and Charlie Waters in Denver.
Welcome to you people that have been watching Dallas and the New York Giants.